China is definitely changing its approach slightly or moderating its approach. So from 2016, you see a sharp drop in BRI investments globally. So post GFC, there was definitely a push, lots of investments with Chinese companies going out. And China was a little bit all over the map, I would have to say, in terms of its projects, and there were a lot of white elephant type of investments that we know in Pakistan and in elsewhere, even in Sri Lanka, huge investment, not clear return. When COVID hit, of course, the BRI, the investments had already paused somewhat, or there was a steady decline since 2016. Then obviously the Chinese economy took a certain hit during the COVID era. So during that period, what you saw in China was a bit of a step back and reflection, a focus on trying to complete the projects that were already committed in many countries, see them through, and some, very significantly, the China-Lao Railway, for example, which was a very big project in Lao, that was completed during the COVID period, and they made fairly good advancement as well on the Indonesian rail as well. So that China felt those were significant gains during the period. But otherwise, there was a focus on streamlining investments. So trying not to invest further in some sort of property speculation, as well as some of the earlier projects that had involved the gambling sector, let's say in Cambodia. So the idea was to reflect, learn, and evaluate from projects that had already been implemented and try to improve on those. And then more recently, what's happened is China's coming out with a very multi-pronged approach. Last year, China released 2 new initiatives. One is the Global Security Initiative, which I don't actually know that much about, and I think most people in China don't know that much about. But it's focused on various aspects of security. And then the second initiative that came out and that was released last September and was actually launched with a significant project here in Nepal in June is called the Global Development Initiative. So what you see happening is China is saying, okay, BRI is our economic diplomacy, GSI is security diplomacy, and GDI is development diplomacy. And GDI, of course, in terms of resources, is much smaller, though there are several $1 billion there across several funds. Some funds sit with the UN. There's also the South-South Cooperation Assistance Fund, which has $3 million. And interestingly, the first disbursement out of that fund to a Chinese NGO was done in Nepal. In June, to China Rural Development Foundation, formerly called China Foundation for Poverty Alleviation, which is China's largest NGO and has been in Nepal for a very, very, very long time. So this focus on GDI is very focused on the SDGs, on human development, on people-to-people links, on poverty alleviation, on health, all those aspects of development cooperation that are very familiar to us from Western donors as well. So you see this kind of merging or convergence of development cooperation between North, South, East, and West in the GDI. It's also significant that all these initiatives have come out prior to Xi Jinping's going for a 3rd term.